Tape Deck Media.
My friend Dan, he's got a podcast, 'cause all comics need a podcast, and nobody had a podcast called The Art of Bombing. So Dan went out and bought a tape deck. Who knows why he bought a tape deck? Now podcasts don't get played on tape decks, but Dan is from the 80s. So hey there, all you funny jerks, come talk to Dan about your work. Tell him all about your worst times. It's The Art of Bombing. Hello, friends, and welcome to an all-new episode of The Art of Bombing presents Between Bombs Callbacks, where we call back our most recent episode. And in this episode, we are calling back episode 20, 320, 320. Fuck! Ah!
Just so close, buddy.
God damn! Ah! Alright, I need some coffee. This is why we don't do it so early. All right. Your face. All right. Hold that face.
I'm just trying to be quiet.
Hello, friends, and welcome to a brand new episode of The Art of Bombing presents Between Bombs Callbacks, where Larry.
That's me.
And me, Dan.
And that's Dan.
Yeah. Call back our most recent episode. And in this episode, we are calling back episode 320 with the fabulous Cori Stewart. And it was a great conversation. I love Cori. She is one of my favorites.
You know, Cori and I have been friends for a long time. So every time you interview a good friend of mine, I get the episode and I'm like, oh, but I want to interview my friends. I want to talk to my friends. What do I gotta? Dan just put me in the cuck chair for talking to friends. I just you sit in the corner and you listen. Oh, yeah, okay.
You listen and you write notes.
You take notes.
You take notes about what's happening here.
No, it was a great. Cori's great. Yeah,
she is great, and it's a good way to end the season because. This is the season finale, this episode, and then this Between Bombs, and then we're because this is going to come out on this, it's Christmas Eve, so we usually take a break sooner, but I didn't release an episode, so we were because I was busy, which is a good problem to have. I've been busy on the road and traveling and doing all the things. So I know the episodes have been coming out sometimes a little sporadic. I do apologize for that. But we'll get our crap together in the new year. Maybe. Yeah. If not, it's our podcast. We can do what we want.
Dan's been we've had some spot switching. Dan's got to go out to be a real comedian, and I sit around the house in my sweatpants, having an artistic and existential crisis.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like we need to do an episode about how to get over that.
Right. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Let's get a psychologist in here and maybe a sports kinesiologist and
how do we get over the hump?
I was hitting homers. Now I can just barely get on first. Anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
But Santa's
Happy
sad.
Holidays.
A blessed Yuletide to all. Santa's got ennui.
Yeah, we will be back though at the end of January. So we made that announcement. Now let's get to this what this podcast is about.
You want to slip up there, buddy? I heard it.
No. What this I did. Well, the callbacks is still about bombing because we're talking about the previous episode. So It is what this is about. The core of this podcast is bombing. So
yes,
I would have still been accurate if I would have said it.
You're absolutely right. You know what? This is your show. I should.
That's right. You know what, sir?
you know what, sad Santa? You just sit there.
You just sit there and listen and take notes.
Hold on. And
all right, good.
Larry shuts
up
there.
Oh, sweet. Oh man, that's funny. Oh well, before we started recording, you were telling me that you came up with a couple bits and you were very excited for, and then you saw other comedians already do the joke, so you had to go scratch them out of your book, which is a good lead into one of the topics we want to talk about this week is don't steal jokes and definitely don't make them the intro.
Oh yeah, because Cori's the whole episode. Cori really concentrated on a story about her, the time she hosted,
Yep.
and you guys brought up one of the cruise ship hosts was
Yeah.
stealing
Yep.
material and then using said material
Yeah.
to
That's what.
intro the comic.
Yeah. Well, no, just his set. He was using he was stealing jokes and using it for his set to open the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I misremembered a little bit, but I think I was smushing
Either way,
two stories together, but yeah.
but either way, yeah. I mean, and that was what the other comic said. So, obviously I didn't know that comic that was doing it, but that's wild that they would do that.
Yeah, I mean that is one, you don't steal material. And everybody, I mean that's rule number one for comics. You don't steal
Hmm.
material.
Exactly.
Um
Although I
and
could see comics like if what you were talking about, where you're thinking that it was, making it into the intro, that would be kind of funny. It to take one of somebody's joke and then turn it into their intro,
that would
just to be that guy.
oh yeah, I mean if it's a good friend of yours and you're like this is a no stakes show and I'm gonna mess with him
Yep.
and just watch as you're like, what the come on, man.
Just start doing part of your set. Be like, hey, yeah, this next comic, he's got really good material about growing up on a farm. He's gonna talk about how he used to like go, rodeo and just like give him just all the spoilers.
Oh, and also his he's gonna talk about his nickname. Let me tell you what his nickname used to be. You guys are gonna love this.
Oh.
The first 15 minutes of my set, if you did that to me, would just be roasting you. It would just be,
And rightfully so. That
oh, and
would
I
be
would
funny though.
make so much stuff up too. But yeah, I mean, that kind of, because my first thought was like, yeah, I appreciate Dan being here since, we're so close to a grade school. He's not normally allowed within 500 yards. And I know that was brought up on the show, because, don't bring comics up in a weird way.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like that can really, really derail a set. I've seen that a lot. You especially see it in corporate shows where you're being brought up by somebody who does not do comedy, doesn't perform.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they have no clue what they're doing. They're just trying to like, here's our guest,
Yeah.
and like one of the weirdest ways, and this is why when I teach, I mention this in my shameless plug for me, and I haven't done one in a while. Maybe I should do another one. But in my EPK class, I talk about that having an intro separate from your bio, especially for corporates, because a lot of times you'll send your bio and they just read your bio for your intro. And it's like, if you have a long bio, you're just like, there's been a couple times where I'm getting ready to do a corporate and they go to introduce me and then they do that where they read my whole bio and then bring me out. And I'm just like, damn, this is a long bio. I might need to edit that.
I need to cut this.
I need to cut this.
What pretentious jerk wrote this? Oh, me. It's me.
Well,
No,
and here's a quick tip for people, listening. If you do host, doing the intro, never say the comic's name first. That
uh,
is one of the biggest like mishaps or missteps I see for hosting, especially newer hosts, where they'll say the comic's name first and then do the intro. And then because it can, for one, it confuses the comic. They hear their name, so they're like getting ready to come up, and then they're like, "Oh wait, they're not done doing my intro."
I've had people like, Larry Smith is your next comic, and let me tell you about him. And like
Yep.
they start to get excited. They're like, wait, what? And then he's like, all right, I'll get excited. Here he is once again, Larry
Yep.
Smith. And people are like, what are you doing, dude? And
Yep.
I'm,
And that makes a weird. Yeah,
yeah,
intros like that, it makes it weird because one, it throws the comic that's coming up, throws them off, and it throws the audience off because by now they're there and they know that when they hear a comic's name, they give it up.
Yeah.
And if they go to give it up, and then the host is like, "Oh no, 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 he's not coming up yet.
Don't give it up yet.
Hold that.
You hold back a little. You don't give it up quite yet.
Hold your
You
applause."
you tease him a little bit. You make him earn that. I'll tell you, I mentioned it before we started. Like I got a little anecdote for this, where at one of the clubs that I had, two clubs that I came up in. Mason City Limits is my home club, and God bless Chris Spire, the owner, and House MC, because he's a professional comedian. He knows what he's doing. He is great. Um, the other comedy club, I'm not going to mention names, but the owner fancied himself the host. He would bring comics up in the weirdest way, in the worst way. Like there was one time where the headliner, I was working with Pat Godwin, and Pat is back in the back of the room with me as he's doing my intro, and Pat comes up, puts his arm around me, and goes, "What's he doing to you?" And I was like, this is every time. He's like, "This is every time." He should be like, "Hey, this guy, we got a feature. You're gonna love him. He's one of our regulars here. We love him. And get like something fancy from you, like because you're out on the. I'm like, yeah, I've been doing some road stuff. Been doing this and this, and then he was like, cool. That's what he should say. And but he brought me up that night with like, oh, and he's the premier comedian for all the nursing homes in the four county area. And I'm looking at him, and he's like, "Yeah, he must have a thing for old broads." And that's what it was. It was and I was
Oh
like,
my god.
"What are you doing?" And I even said out loud, "What are you doing?" At that point, because he expected you to be like right there
Yeah,
when
waiting.
he said your name. And this was every time he would say, and so he would tank you. And Pat Godwin grabbed a hold of him and was like, "You don't do that to my feature act ever again." And he's like, "He's not your feature. He's my feature. I pay." Blah, blah, blah. And Pat, like, well, the next day, Josh Potter showed up to just stick his head in to say hi to Pat. So he was doing a private gig, and he watched as the dude did my intro. And Potter comes up and he's like, "What is happening?" And I was like, "I don't know." And I went up and and Pat was like, "Just go up and kill it." He goes, "I don't care what you do." And he goes, "Also, do a little extra time. I'm going to tell him I'm cutting my set so you can do extra time. And I want you to murder." And I had a great set. It really was a great set because
Well, that's good,
I
but
went up angry, but just angry enough.
yep,
But
just
like
enough to like. It was spite.
yeah,
You weren't angry. You were spiteful.
I was. And I remember starting it by roasting the owner for like 45 seconds, just
Yeah. Well,
one after another.
That's one of those things that really does annoy me when your host does stuff like where they're trying to be funny, especially when they don't know you. I mean, in this situation, he actually knew you, so he could have probably did something really funny, like made a really funny, you know, jab at you to be playful and make it fun. But it sounds like in this case, it was just like some weird intro or whatever. But
Yeah.
I hate that when because I've done that too, where I did somebody's show that I never met, whatever, and they just have this weird, they make something up, and it's like, what,
Yeah.
what is happening? And
Well,
actually, going back to what you're talking about with the weird intros, that's what the show that I did, the corporate show that I did that inspired this podcast. I had a weird intro there too, like. The guy came up to me and he's like, "Yeah, you can start whenever you want." And I was like, "Are you going to at least intro me?" And he's like, "Oh, I guess I can." So then he goes back on stage and he's like, "All right, it's time for comedy. Here's Dan."
Wow. Perfect. Thanks, pal.
Right?
Well, I mentioned Mason City Limits.
Yep.
There were like Chris is the house MC, but my buddy Jeff Gavednik and a couple other friends would step in at doing host duties. Sometimes Chris would be like halfway and be like, "Hey, go finish it out for me. I'm gonna do checks and stuff back here." And like my buddy Jeff would bring me up as what everyone's favorite lumbersexual, Larry Smith. Yeah, because he would go through like here's his credits. We're so proud of him. We love him here. We're so proud of what he's doing and blah blah. And he'd give me just pump me up. He's like everybody's favorite lumbersexual. Here he is, and I'm like, that's beautiful, beautiful because he's a good friend of mine. He was pumping me up, but he got to do a little, and my buddy Scott would do the same thing. Always say something funny right at the end, which got the crowd laughing and clapping harder. And then I'd come up it was just settling in. It wasn't trying to pull it back. And that's part of what we're mentioning here, doing your due diligence as a host.
Yep. And we'll talk about that right after these messages from our sponsors. All right, we are back. Make sure you're supporting our sponsors. By supporting them, you're supporting us.
That was our due diligence, so that
our due diligence,
so that we can almost get paid.
Yeah, we're just trying to pay for the podcast. We're just trying to cover overhead.
This mug looks so tiny.
For you, it does. Oh my god, it does. It looks like you're drinking a little mini. Out of a mini cup.
It's one of the mugs from the Chris Kindle Market from up here in Chicago. And I just realized how teeny tiny it looked. Anyway,
that's
you want to make sure.
Hold that up one more time. This is a good visual.
Hold on there.
Yeah, there. When you hold it back like that, your hand looks bigger than the.
Yeah. Yeah, it's old meat mitts. That's what my wife calls me. For real though. We were trying to open a bottle at the bar the other night, and she was like two bartenders tried, and she goes, "Give it to meat mitts," and I was like, "I got it."
Give the meat mitts.
If you're a host, you want to make sure. Like I got to host the Comedyplex, which is kind of it was really nice. Buddy of mine, that was his way to get me into the club up here. But I had worked with, he was headlining. I'd worked with him a million times. I could bring him up in my sleep, right?
Yep.
But the other two comics, I didn't know them. And so I went and made sure that, I got their intro right. I got what they, and both of them were like, you don't have to do anything crazy. Just hit this point and then say my name right. That's all.
Yep.
Cool. And I went.
Throw this out there as a host. That is important to get the people's names right.
Yep.
It is very important to, if you're unsure, ask. Don't guess. Just ask. They're not gonna be upset that you ask how to pronounce their name. And
Pratik Shrivastava. I had to have Pratik say his name 4 times to make sure I got it right. Brilliant comedian, sweetheart of a dude, but I just kept going, say it again. I want to make sure I get it right.
Yeah,
and
right.
even then,
I do that sometimes too, because I'm just like, I don't know. I have this weird brain thing where it comes to like pronouncing names, just words in general, really, where like I can hear it but still can't say it right. Like somebody can say how like the correct pronunciation, and I'm still like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and that was the thing. It was one of those nights as a host, I immediately had to ask people to either quiet or leave. So it already set me up as the bad guy. I tried to do some material. People were like, you're already the mean one. And so it went well. But when I tried, I was already up in my head. And so when I do that, my stutter comes back. And so here I am. And then suddenly it just, I couldn't pronounce his name. I couldn't say it right. And I stuttered all over it. And I stopped and I looked at him and he's like, it was really sweet. He was like, it's okay, buddy. And I was like, it's okay.
You're going to hate me for this, but you could like do a stage persona Larry the Stuttering Guy, and it would be a cross of Larry the Cable Guy and Drew Lynch.
Oh my God, that actually would be very fun. That would be very fun. Never, you
And
can't
not
ever.
and honestly though, just I'm gonna throw this out there, not making fun of Drew Lynch and like
No,
no, I
no,
love he's one of the best and one of the hardest working comedians today,
yeah,
and
no,
incredible
and
story.
for real,
But
as a kid, I had a stutter. I worked really hard to get rid of it, but as you've seen it, when I
yeah,
get all up in my head or too nervous, or
little yep,
I go on my little boot loop sometimes, and it just takes somebody to go,
my little boot loop.
yep, yep, I just can't, I can't, the
That
computer
sounds
won't
like
boot
a
up.
sex thing.
And then it's just on my little boot loop. Anyway,
That's name of your sex tape. My
my
little boot loop.
my little boot loop. Um, well, it's just me in the corner taking notes. Uh, so due diligence, make sure, because the other part of
Yep.
due diligence that I was going to mention is I went to the club owner or the club manager and was like, "Hey, what would you like me to mention when
Yep.
I open? What would you like me to mention when I close?"
Yep.
And he was like, "No one's ever asked me that." And I said, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, yeah." He goes, "That I'm shocked." He's like,
Most
"Mention
major
these things."
clubs, yeah, I was gonna say, but most major clubs will. They already have announcements that they want you to make. They'll, you
They
know what I
had a
mean.
list in the
But
green room of, "Hey, hosts, make sure you do this." But it was a slightly different type of show.
hmm
So I wanted to make sure that, and I told him, I said, "I want to make sure this is all up to date. Maybe this is an old copy from last week, and I don't want to think, I just want to make sure of everything. This is
yep,
my job. I'm making sure." And so it's just things like that. You make sure if they want to, mention the drink specials.
yep,
Also the bar's going to stay open afterwards if you guys want to hang out. This, that, and the other.
yep, all the things, and it's important because you got to remember, as the host, you're not the star of the show. You're working. It is the host is a job. You're basically the stage / production manager.
Yeah,
It's your job to keep the show going, set up other comedians for success. You're also, as the host, you're representing whatever venue that you're in, whether it's a comedy club or brewery, whatever. You're seen as, even though you're not an employee, you're looked at as
yeah,
kind of an employee that night. So it's important that as the host, you're taking care of those things because
exactly.
you
And
represent the club.
as the host, you should be there earlier than everybody. And not the
Yep.
staff, obviously, but earlier than all the other
Yeah, you should get
comics.
there before the staff. You should just be outside waiting, so when they show up they can let you in, and they'll
Yeah,
be like, "Oh, that host got here even before we did."
yeah, I'm sure they'll appreciate that. No,
You're like,
but
you want a job in the restaurant? we
you
we could use a new host.
want to seat people and then go on, whatever, man. They'll do whatever it takes.
I mean,
It
a lot
just
of
like the
times,
comedy
actually,
store. Let
it's
me work
funny.
the
I was
door
gonna
for.
say that's funny because I was just gonna say a lot of comedy clubs that is an actual thing where the door people that the people that seat you tend to end up being on the show.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, it's yeah. That mention of not being the star. You don't host line. I hate that. I mean, do your time. Do your 10 minutes up front or whatever they tell you to do.
Yep. And
And
yeah,
then
and definitely you definitely want to try to do your best. Like the host spot is one of the toughest spots because you're going up cold.
yeah,
But you get and that's why you got to remember that even if you don't have the best set, it's okay. Your main concern is doing the announcements, uh, getting the audience in the mindset of comedy because when the lights dim and the show starts, prior to that, they've been sitting there ordering drinks, maybe ordering food. They're chit chatting amongst themselves. So it's your job as the host to put them in. Oh, hey, now it's time for comedy. Pay attention to the stage.
yeah, yep. And that's. But again, you are kind of managing everybody. You're
Mm-hmm.
managing to make sure everybody's going and doing what they're supposed to do and when they're supposed to do it.
Managing the
And
audience.
Yes.
Putting them in, you're giving them the house rules or etiquette of a comedy show, and then you're, you know, putting them in the mindset for comedy and all the things like that. So it's definitely important to keep that in mind. And it's
Yeah.
okay, like, because that's the thing with comedy. It's a very egotistic industry, but as the host, again, you're not the star. The headliner and the feature, are the ones. You just got to make sure you get the audience ready to, ready for comedy, and then set those other comedians up for success. And I
Yep.
always say, like, I I hate when I'm at, like, after a show, I'm standing around with comics, and somebody will come up and be like, "You were really really funny," and then they'll be like, ignore everybody else, or they'll be like, oh, you weren't that great, that kind of thing. Like when somebody doesn't have a good set or whatever. What I
Yeah.
love is when people come out and they're like, that's the best show I ever saw. They're not specifically calling out anybody, it's the show. And I think
Yeah.
it's about synergy and teamwork. Realistically, that's what you're doing. The host, you're opening the show, you're getting the audience ready for comedy, bringing up your feature, the features opening them up and really getting them ready to laugh. So then when the headliner comes out, he knocks it out of the park, and or he or she or
Yep.
they knock it out of the park, and it's a good show front to back.
Yep. I I know we're gonna get wrapped up here, so I would be remiss, Dan, if I didn't mention something.
Okay.
And I didn't run this past you, sorry,
Oh.
but um, I got some sad news last week.
Oh no.
Um, the so Buzzbomb, who I'm representing here, that had been our home for
Mm-hmm.
years.
Yep. You did
For
shows and open mics there.
Yep, consistent open mics, the only consistent open mic in Springfield for a long time. Now they're some of the other comics are picking up and trying to go other places to do more open mics, but we had the a consistently packed open mic, and then our brouhaha shows that were once a quarter that Ricky Stead started years ago, and I always like to say I was helping because it was I've been there since the beginning, because he came to me and we talked about it, and then when he moved, he gave those shows over to me, and we ran them through. We ran through the pandemic. I mean, things were allowed to be back open and outside, we were like, let's see how it works. And we showed that you could do successful outdoor shows. And I mean, but once we could, we went back upstairs and had our showroom and had, I mean, we did an album launch party for Arena Calm. We had Nick Griffin do a drop in. Nick Griffin in my little brewery room
Very
that was
nice.
packed to the gills and was for an open mic. It was packed, and Nick Griffin comes in and wants a spot. Nick Griffin, you can have all the spots.
You can have spots. You can do
Um
some time on this show.
yeah, we had there's a lot of comics that anytime I know we tried to get you over there, and it just the timing just didn't work.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Every time that we tried, it was just something just.
yeah. Just it didn't work.
But I tried to get headliners in that were on their way up, that more people should know about. Um, and unfortunately, at the end of the year, the brewery is shutting down. It's shutting its
Oh,
doors
you know what?
after.
That is a very sad thing. And my friend who owns a brewery here in Loveland, that you did some shows here and there, but I also would guest beer tent from time to time. They just closed too. They closed at the end of November.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
Yep.
R.I.P.
Yeah, it's just
Big Beaver Brewing and Buzz Bomb.
you guys go out there, support your breweries and your local venues
Yep.
and your local shows, because that's
Especially the venues that are supporting live entertainment.
yeah. Because
Because
Buzzmom,
without venues like that, you wouldn't have as many stages to perform.
yep. Well, and you don't have as many options if you're not a performer. You just like to be a consumer.
Yeah, that's true as well.
It's breaking my heart, and because all that time that all of us put in, and I still not me, yeah, me and Ricky put in time in the beginning, and then I gave it
Mm.
over to my buddy Ryan, who ran with it and did a great job, um, for the past year.
It's pretty sad right now because I mean, this is a lot of breweries are shutting down. Like they're going through a really tough time right now. There's quite a few that have shut
Yeah,
down this last year.
well, it
It's a sad
is
deal.
that people are drinking less, which I don't know how.
Yeah,
Have
I
you
know,
seen the?
right? You would have you seen the world? You should be
Have you? Se-
drinking more. I
I you
mean,
I ain't raw dogging this. I'm going through. Phew,
there's
I
people
can't.
that want to do this shit sober. What?
No, thank you.
Hard pass.
Hard pass. Hard pass out.
Well,
Hard pass out on the couch.
we can't go out on that note though.
No,
No, we can't go
no.
on such a somber note going into the holiday season. It's Christmas Eve, so let's do something fun. What's something you're excited for the holiday or the new year?
Well, I'm gonna be a cheesy dad,
Well, that's fine. I
but
want give me
the
the
kids are coming
cheese.
up. I
Oh,
And so
goodness.
I'm always excited that I get to spend the holiday season with the kiddos, and now I say they're kiddos, they are all adults now. Um, uh, w-
That's because you're old, but uh,
when I tell people how old my kids are, and then they look at me and they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I made babies when I was unable to take care of myself, much less other humans." Um, but no, I'm always looking forward to that. And this should be the first year that we really begin the tradition up here. So in Springfield, we had a tradition
Oh,
on
the,
Christmas Eve. We had the feast of misfits, miscreants, and malcontents. And last year we had some friends over, but it wasn't really the feast. We were
yeah,
kind of doing our best because
yeah.
we had just moved
Well,
in.
I was gonna say yeah, because didn't you guys just move into that apartment? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but yeah,
or,
this year it's gonna be we'll do the real feast and have friends that service industry friends and comic friends that can't go home and such, and just give everybody a place to be for at least
that's great. I'm just
and,
wondering where my invite was, but whatever.
well, you
I
know
kid,
what,
I kid. I'll be in South Dakota. That's what
you
I'm.
can you can sleep in the trunk over here, Dan.
Oh, I
It's
probably would fit.
it's a big trunk. It is a.
Well, there we go.
I think you've seen it. Anyway, what are you looking forward to, buddy?
Ah, I'm actually looking forward to being back. I'm gonna. I don't. We're not really. We don't really do like now that everybody's older. We don't really do like Christmas type of stuff. I guess you could say, but like I'm gonna still go hang out with my dad. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and I got a couple things I'm gonna do while I'm in South Dakota, and then I'm actually gonna help my dad do some stuff. But yeah, I'm just gonna hang out with my dad, which will be cool because we haven't. I don't remember the last time I actually spent a holiday with my dad. It's been a lot of years.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, this is uh yeah, I don't I our rule is we don't travel on Christmas. So if people want to see us,
They gotta come to you. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah. And I typically uh yeah, it depends on what's going on. I
well, and so that rule was because we had the kids and we were like, well, we get up, we do Christmas morning with these
hmm
kids, and then by the time it's done, guys, it's just a lot. Dude, you want to see us, you come to us. And now we're like, I don't know, we live all the way in the city. We're very tired and old. And you got to come to us.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're
There you
running
go.
out of excuses, Dan. We're running out of excuses.
Aw.
But
Well, well, we should get out of here, and I hope everybody has a great holiday and a happy New
yes,
Year. We will be back at the
a
end of
blessed
January.
whatever it is you celebrate, y'all.
Yeah, whatever, however, and whatever you celebrate. Make sure you subscribe, follow the podcast. If you're on listening to Spotify, hit that follow button. Apple Podcasts, follow. You know the drill. Give us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. We haven't had a new review in like 4 years. It would be
I have
nice.
been begging
I
people
know
to
we
leave a
have.
review.
I'm starting to wonder if anybody even listens to this podcast at this rate.
I don't. Probably not.
I mean, I see the numbers, the download numbers, and I'm like, it says there's people listening.
Yeah, I've offered to make art for people.
I know, and people are still like, nah.
Nah, I'm good.
I think they've seen your art as what the problem.
Ouch.
I'm kidding. You're a great artist. I'm giving him crap.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
And Larry didn't get fired. He quit.
That's what I'm looking forward to in the new year.
Quitting this podcast.
Just quitting.
Just everything. Just quitting.
Just quitting.
Just giving up.
Just done.
All right. Well, we'll be back in the new year. Until then, be safe and have a great everything.
Perfect way to tie it up, buddy. You really dallied that off.
This has been a Tape Deck Media production. Thank you for listening.